Hi everyone, this is Concrete Zebra with Craftmaster Productions. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a custom production template. Alright everybody, welcome back to Craftmaster Productions. This is Concrete Zebra. Today we're going to be going into how to create custom production templates. The point of this is to get you into just opening up the program, selecting a template, having your instruments at your fingertips, and just to go right into producing. You don't want to be spending a bunch of time, searching for, your VSTs and whatnot when, if you be real about it, you probably use the same 4 or 5 VSTs on every single track. The other thing that this helps out with a lot is you can set up your signal flow, and that will help enhance the overall quality of your mixes. It's something that's not really talked about a lot, when you're looking for mixing help, but it's a big deal. And it took me a long time to figure that out, so I figure I'll give that to you guys. The first thing that I do when I go ahead and set my template up, we'll make 10 instrument tracks. So you just click this icon here to add tracks, select instrument. You don't have to name them. Your output will be a new instrument. Select whatever color you want and click OK. So what you wind up with is some blank instrument tracks, and we can assign these to instruments, but we haven't added any instruments yet. So the way I like to do it is I work from the mixer view, go to this drop down menu right here to add an instrument, click the plus sign, and all your instruments will pop up. Okay, I can typically go through about 4 instances of Omnisphere. So in my personal template, this will change for whatever you're into, whatever your favorite plugin is, whatever you like. But I'm just gonna grab 10. So here you have 4 Omnisphere, and I'll use a reactor. So I make my 808s with Razor. Usually have a massive in there. I design custom patches of massive. It's pretty easy, so I'll have those at my fingertips. Always got to have a couple instances of Nexus, just because you know what you're getting out of Nexus, and you could just find a preset real quick and bomb, you got something sounding good. I have my custom drum machine in Impact. I really like that plugin. That's a good plugin, and I always roll with a couple instances of Contact, just because the libraries are so good. Okay, and then once you have your instruments selected, you've picked them all out, you go back to your tracks and assign them. So here's Impact, Contact, Massive, Nexus, and all I'm doing is left clicking on these. You see, this is your output right here. Now what you could do is take the time to name them, stay organized, name your tracks. If you just press tab, it'll highlight the next track down, and you can go ahead and just move through it real fast. Alright, so now that you got that done, you bring the mixer back up, highlight your track, color them to match. Here's one thing that I do. You don't have to do it, but for example, in Impact, right? This is where I trigger all my drums from. I have a couple custom kits that I like. So I'll pull up, my trap kit, whatever. I'll go ahead and color Impact a completely other color. That way I could kind of differentiate from what my instruments are and from what my drums are. And that's gonna bring me into the next point that I'm going to make, is how we're going to set up our signal flow now that we have our instruments. When mixing was primarily handled on large consoles, what these guys would have is they'd have 64 tracks, 32 tracks, and in order to ease it down, what they would do is they would send a group of these tracks to buses, and one of the more popular methods of busing was to have a drum channel and what was called a band channel. So you would go and you would mix your drums down and get them nice and snapping in the way that you wanted them to sound, send it to a bus, and then go ahead and mix the band down. And if you needed to lower the drums or increase the volume of the drums, rather than going in and trying to, you know, make different changes to each individual track, you could go and just slide one fader up, and all of these would you know, increase or decrease in volume depending on what you did. So, you know, you can do that nowadays really easy in a DAW. And this is the way I do it in Studio One. You just highlight one track. All my blues are my instruments, right? So we're going to call that the band. So we highlight the track furthest to the left, find the one furthest to the right, hold down Shift and left click. Now you've got them all highlighted, right? You right click in this space right here, and you go down to this feature, which is one of my favorite features in Studio One, where it says add bus for selected tracks. Now if you pay attention to the output, it says that all these tracks are now going to bus 1. Alright, so we'll take bus 1 and we'll move it over here. We will call that drum, or we'll call that band. Right? And we do the same thing for the drums. We take this, highlight, hold down Shift, left click, highlight all the tracks, right click, add bus for selected tracks, and now we will call this one drums. So what's going to happen now is all the signals from these tracks that are sent to the band, you can adjust them with just one fader. Okay, and you can adjust the drums with just one fader. It kind of comes in handy at the end of your mix down. Now, to take this a step further, what I like to do is highlight these two tracks, right click up here, and add another bus. Okay, I call this bus the filter bus. And what the filter bus is sometimes you want to add an automation effect or a stutter effect or a glitch effect to your entire beat, and you're able to do that by adding an effect over the entire beat and then, you know, automating whatever parameters you want to do, and you can do that inside of this bus. But sometimes you may have certain parts of your track that you don't want to be affected by that. To be prepared for that scenario, what I put in my template is another bus that I call the filter bypass. And I don't automatically send anything to the filter bypass just because, you know, I haven't made the track. I don't know what I want to bypass and what I don't want to bypass. I make the two filter tracks the same color. That way, you know, because as we start to get more buses, it's just easier to pick apart the different types. So these two buses, we're going to take and create a bus for those selected tracks, and then this is what we're going to call the mix bus. This is similar to Pro Tools, what they call the master fader. And basically what this is okay, you've sent all the blue tracks to the band, because those are your instruments. You sent all your red tracks, those are your drums, to the drum bus. Then you've sent the sum of those two tracks to your filter bus. Maybe some of them went to the filter bypass. Now you've sent the sum of those tracks to the mix bus. So this is essentially gonna function like your main fader. You're putting it before the main fader because you just never want to touch your main fader. You don't want to turn this up or down ever for anything. I could do an entire video explaining why you shouldn't do that, but I'm just gonna try to get through this one. This is where you're going to put your mastering chain. Okay, I have one that I like. You know, you can use whatever you want. You can see I rely on serial compression and EQ with some filters and some mid-side stuff going on, and then I do my limiting with ozone because it's awesome. The only other thing that I haven't added that I will show you that I add is my auxiliary sends or FX channels, and all you got to do is click anywhere in the mixer and select add effects channel. I usually make about 4 or 5 of them. One of them I usually put a big ambient reverb on that I call room reverb. Another one is a shorter reverb for my drums. I always have a simple like either half note or quarter note delay, and then I always have a ping pong delay because I noticed a lot of the sounds in Nexus they use the eighth note ping pong delay to kind of add character to that, and to kind of incorporate that idea in my sound. I always make sure I have a ping pong delay, and stuff like this you could just use, and this is what I use, is just the regular old beat delay from Studio One. Go to the ping pong setting, 8th ping pong. I mean, you can't beat it. For my echo, I'll go ahead and grab the beat delay again, quarter note, the feedback up a little bit. For the room reverb, you can use any reverb you want. The stock reverb in Studio One is pretty decent. Not mix verb though. I do not like mix verb. The room reverb, they got some good presets that are good starting points that you can mess with. And then your drum reverb, you know, you could use the same thing. Okay, and basically what you want to do is you want to take these, highlight all of them, change the output to the mix bus. You want to send your to the filter bus. You want to send these to the filter bus as well. And you know how you use them is, you know, say for example you've got a drum pattern, right, and you got you have a snare, and you want to add a big old reverb to it, right? So here you have your snare. Okay. You go back to your mixer. Right here you see your send effects. So you want to send that to your drum reverb. And you can adjust the level. What you want to do when you use these auxiliary effects, these send effects channels, is you want to make sure when you're using the stock plugins, you turn the mix all the way up, the dry wet all the way up, and then you adjust the amount of reverb with this knob right here. You know, you could also get real creative with this and pan it to either channel. You could send it to a delay. just get creative and do what you want. You could put any, it doesn't just have to be stock effects. You could put any effect that you want to send this to. And the nice thing about this is it saves, it saves CPU, because you're only using, one reverb, and you could put, this one reverb on any channel, and it's just one instance of the plugin. So that's pretty much it, as far as setting it up. Now what you want to do to save this, you go to File, Save as Template, and you just name it whatever you want. And then the next time you go to open up a song, you click Create Song, and your template will be right here. You go ahead and click OK. And there's all your instrument tracks. You've got your mixer tracks all set up. You've got your bussing all set up, and then boom, you just you go in and you're ready to start looking for sounds. And you're ready to start picking patches and start producing. So that's it. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe, like, and we'll catch you on the next one. This is Craftmaster Productions, Concrete Zebra. Thanks for watching.